Welcome to Aunty Lou's Hour. If you like this podcast, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Oh my gosh, unique. I want to call you unique, but it's
Yeah,
Yanique Taylor
yeah.
because you're so.
Some people just call me unique. It's funny because I had she was like my foster mom, and she used to call me Yanni Q. She was a
Okay,
teacher, so obviously my name is Yannick,
okay,
but she used to say Yanni Q based on how it's spelled, Yanique. Yeah.
okay. Well, let me introduce you. So, Yanique Taylor, you're an author. You're a
Mhm.
HIV peer mentor, living with HIV. You're a radio presenter, and you're a speaker. And through your memoirs, Shameless, My Naked Truth, and your shows, My Naked Truth, and HIV Positive Show, you are looking at breaking down barriers. And your declaration is shame is unwelcome and nothing is taboo. And you really like to empower women using art therapy because you're an art therapy coach and you want to help um, any hidden creativity. So, welcome.
Well,
But
thank
I
you.
have to say, straight off the bat, I think I've got a girl crush because the way
Ah!
you've done your face, I love the way. So, you say you're a makeup artist.
Yeah. So I'm also a qualified makeup artist because I'm a qualified beauty therapist.
Yeah,
When I was going to college, they call it specialist, beauty
yeah.
specialist. So that covers makeup and everything. So yeah.
So, what made you get into like
Beauty.
beauty? Yeah.
Um, you know what? From a younger age, I've always loved doing nails. So I even used to do my own nails going to school, and then I would do like my friends' nails and stuff like that. And then it's just something because I think I was quite creative. I remember from a young age, I was telling myself that I don't want to work in an office because I want to look
Ah.
how I want to look. I want to do what I want to do. And, in an office, you have to have a certain look. Well, back then
Yeah.
when we were growing up, you have to have a certain look. And I always feel like it's so condensed.
Yeah.
And being a Gemini, I have to be free, and I'm
Yeah.
very creative. So yeah, I decided to because I even went to hairdressing school back home where they did nails and hair, but I didn't like doing hair.
Oh,
So I literally asked the tutor if I could just focus on the nails.
yeah.
And she said, yeah, focus on the nails and that's it. And so when I left hairdressing school, I was a qualified nail technician.
Oh, how exciting.
Um,
And what
uh,
about fashion as well? Fashion. Would you ever?
well, no, it's not so based on me being a beauty therapist, fashion is something that I've always tapped into. So I find that because being a makeup artist, so I'd work on fashion shows, I'd work on photo shoots, and stuff like that. So and then with even my own fashion, it's just something I do really. I just put whatever together and it works.
How would you explain your fashion, your personal fashion?
Ah, I think it's just free because I
Yeah.
don't put any thoughts into it. So my
Yeah.
fashion is just free. It's like
Yeah.
freedom for me. Um, I think that's the only thing that I'll do and just don't care and just love it.
You know,
Yeah. So
fashion is actually quite an interesting thing, actually, because
yeah,
when I think about fashion, I don't have like one look. Most of the
no,
time, I look
yeah,
like a student, or or I
yeah,
like to dress quite masculine, so
yeah,
loose clothes and
yeah.
DMs, and I don't often like really go towards femininity, but if I did. I think I like Victoria Beckham, very clean
Yeah,
silhouette.
yeah, yeah,
If I
yeah,
had to
yeah,
go down that road, really kind of clean and sophisticated. But on the other hand, I like to do whatever I like to do, holes in jumpers if I feel like it,
yeah,
bobbles on
yeah,
my clothes. Like I
yeah,
don't like to conform. And it sounds, when you say freedom, you have
yeah,
your own way of that.
yeah. So it depends how I'm feeling. People would be planning to, unless it's something like an awards I'm going or
Yeah,
somewhere where you have to plan,
yeah,
what you're wearing and stuff. Otherwise, from that, whenever I'm going anywhere, it has to be on the day because it has to be how I'm feeling.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how I dress. Yeah. And it's in that moment when I'm going, because sometimes last minute I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna wear? What am I gonna wear? And then I'll pick up pieces and put it together and I'm like, well, that's it.
So,
And I like how it look. And from I like how it look, I don't really care what anybody else says. And it works for me. It's been working for me ever since
well, I
I
love
know
that for
myself.
you, but I need to ask you a
Mhm.
question. Are you Gen X or are you Gen millennial? Are you a millennial? Because that
No,
what I'm trying
no,
to
because I'm
ask is,
because I'm 47 this year, so I'm not millennial. I think I'm Gen Z.
no, I think you're Gen X.
Is it X or
X,
yeah,
X. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
if you're not
So
a millennial, you're Gen X.
no, yeah, I'm not a millennial. No, definitely not.
So there's a reason that I asked that question. First of
Mm,
all, I can't tell because the way sis beat her face today, right? You look right. But really I'm saying that because so I spent some time growing up in the Caribbean. It's only four
yeah.
years from the age of 13 to 17 in St.
Mm-hmm.
Lucia, right?
Yeah.
And I know that you grew up in Jamaica.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Till
And
the age of 20. Yeah.
oh, to 20. So it's similar ages. I was 17, you was 20, right? So kind of
Yeah, when I
similar.
came to the UK. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And 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 I know that Jamaica is a much bigger island. St. Lucia is quite
Yeah.
small, but there are like similarities. And I know when I was growing up, it was about fitting in, you
Yeah,
know?
it was.
What was your experience like growing up? What was it conventional? Because I grew up in the country. Well, I say grew up. I spent 4 years in the countryside. So dad moved from London and went and
Mhm.
bought a house right in the deepest of the countryside.
Yeah,
Right. So I
yeah.
went I went to school in town, but so
You lived
being
in the
in that
countryside.
environment, you can
Yeah,
imagine. I don't need to
yeah,
say
yeah.
no more. So what about
Yeah,
you?
so I would grow up in what you call the town.
Yeah.
And then I would go to holiday to the country. When it comes to holidays, I go to the country, whether it be family or close family friends.
Yeah.
But so I grew up like a city girl, town
Yeah.
girl,
Yeah.
going to school. I loved going to school. I didn't miss school.
You like school?
Yeah, I loved school.
Really?
Mainly because I could do what I want to do.
So was it strict
Um,
at home? Was it strict?
no, you see, I'm an only child, you see. Yeah, so I'm an only child for both parents. So my dad, he's dead now, but I'm his only child. I'm a mom, I'm her only child. So, but I didn't grow up with my mom and dad because by the time I was born, they weren't together anymore. So, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's because that's where I had my friends. And yeah, I could say my mom was strict. So I would be at home. I wasn't really allowed to have friends to come over or
Yeah.
me going to friends' home and stuff like that. So yeah, school was my escape. It's good to talk. School
Yeah.
was my escape. Yeah, so school was my escape. So I loved going to school. I didn't want to miss going to school or anything like that. Because that's where all the fun was for me, meeting up with my friends, doing whatever, to the point where at school we used to have like two shifts, one morning shift and an evening shift. And so whenever I was on the morning shift, I didn't go home until the evening shift. Sometimes we stay at school until the evening shift was there. So yeah, because for me school was fun. Um I wouldn't say I was a good student when it came to my grades, but I was very mischievous, and stuff like that. So, but the thing is, I was mischievous to the point where they would contemplate to get rid of me, but they couldn't because of how well I did in school
Oh,
with my schoolwork. And then, but at the time, I don't realize it. I think, I know I have ADHD, because based on stuff, I haven't confirmed it, but
yeah.
I know that, yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously I couldn't stay one place. It
Yeah.
was like I got bored easily
Yeah. Yeah.
and stuff like that. So to the point I remember my grandmother brought me to a psychiatrist because I was always up and down. I was just always active and, just things to do. And so she thought something was wrong with me. And the psychiatrist says, no, she's just bored, just find things for her to do and stuff like that. So I think that was the issue in school, growing up in school. So I would be always up and down the corridor as soon as class, I do what I need to be doing in class. As soon as the teacher turned her back, I'll be out on the corridor, walking up and down by myself.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. I wasn't somebody who was led by others.
Yeah.
I think at the time when I was going to school, my parents used to think, my mom used to think that was the situation, that I was led, but she didn't realize that no, I had my own mind and
Yeah.
I was doing my own thing. And then it's probably my friends who were following me.
Mm.
So, but yeah, that was my school. I loved it. I love going to school. Um, it was fantastic. I mean, when people hear, I would love to get, I says to people, if I was to go back in time, I'd love to get, even one day back in high school because it was fun.
But I mean,
Yeah, it was
I
fun.
find this quite fascinating because you're creative, but you're also
Yeah,
academic.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you have this superpower of ADHD, it sounds like, or it feels like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I think it's funny how people in society think there's something wrong, but I see it as a superpower. I see it as
No,
something so
there's nothing
special,
wrong.
so unique, so
Yeah, even people who
wonderful.
are artistic, I find them fascinating because I know that you know, they're quite intelligent, very academic, they're
Yeah.
very smart people. I mean, the autistic people that I've been around, I know they are like that. So I don't think people realize how much when you're neurodiverse, how smart you are.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so you grew up in Jamaica and you came to the UK when you was 20. What was it like when you got here?
I didn't like it.
Really? Yeah.
No, because obviously it's a big change in it.
Yeah.
Coming from Jamaica, where I was free, because at the time when I was just 20, I was still in my prime of
Yeah.
with coming, didn't have any children as yet. And then to come to England, that's so boring, and you have to, just the way how the place looked with the bricks, and it was, I didn't like it. I used to remember calling my mom on the phone and crying and say I want to come home, and she'd be
Yeah.
like, "What you coming home for? Stay and sort yourself out," and
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I didn't like it. For years, I would cry going to work. I used to have this thing where I was at the bus stop and going to work, I'd be singing Bob Marley, "Don't worry about a thing, because every
Oh,
little thing is gonna be all right." Yeah, because I didn't like it. When I came, I didn't like it.
you've just
It was
so
just
but you've just touched my heart there because my
yeah,
mum said exactly the same thing because she came to St.
wow,
Lucia on like a boat because it was in the
yeah,
1960s and she said I said what was it like when you first saw England? She said well first of all she had some little piece of summer dress on, you know, the thin
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
summer
yeah,
dress on, and then she said and everything was grey and there was smoke coming
yeah.
out of all these chimneys and all these bricks.
Mm-mm,
And she goes, I didn't
mm-mm.
like it. I cried for a whole year. I wanted to go back home. So it's a similar
Yeah,
story.
yeah, yeah. It's true. I didn't like it, and I remember the first day I came. I saw the sun because it was in June that I came, 1999. And I remember coming, um, I don't know what it was, but I don't know if it's the whole adrenaline of coming here. But I remember going in the house and we wanted to go back out on the road because obviously I just came, my friends, because I
Yeah.
didn't come here to know family or anything. It was just I had a friend living here
Oh,
and got a ticket. Another friend bought me a ticket and I came here. At the time, it was just, you could get a ticket and come. And when I came, so I was like, and they wanted to go on the road. So I'm there putting on my little shorts because it's
yeah.
summer and the sun is out.
Hot girl
And I remember,
summer.
yeah, and so I put on my little t-shirt and my shorts. And I remember stepping out and thinking, oh no, this is not, It was cold. And obviously, it probably wasn't cold at the time. I mean, no, I'd probably be like, no, it's hot. But coming from the Caribbean where it's hot,
Yeah.
to experiencing British
British
summer,
summers.
it was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
cold. So I had to run back inside, put clothes on, and that was so funny. I never forget that day. It was
Oh,
so funny. And that was my first experience of seeing like a department store, which was Selfridges at
yeah.
the time when we went to Oxford Street. And so I mean that part of coming to the UK was great for me because I'm somebody who loves fashion.
Yeah.
So I always said that's one of the things I love about Europe. It's the
Yes.
fashion.
Yes.
Yeah, I
And
love
so
the fashion.
what kind of work did you do when you were here? Did you, like in the early days, did you work in the creative industry or did you go to office work or?
Yeah. So I did. So at the time I met this woman and she had a nail shop in the market. Can't remember what market it was, but it's one of the markets in London. At the time we were living in Norwood, Penge Road, Norwood in London. I think that's nearer to Croydon side. And so she had a little nail shop in the market. So that's where I used to go and work. But at the same time, I ended up doing some cleaning job as well. So I used to do
Okay.
cleaning work.
So did
Yeah, I used to do
I.
yeah, I used to do cleaning work. And there was at one point where I'd yeah, I was still in London, but I moved from where I was to Woolwich and I ended up working in the hospital for a while, in the kitchen. And then after a while I met and then I ended up having my first child, which is Brittany, at 21. And by the time she was 6 months, I met because by the time I got pregnant, her dad, that was another situation where it didn't work out. And so by the time my eldest daughter was 6 months, I met my second daughter's dad, and he moved me down to Birmingham. And ever since I've been into Birmingham. And when I came to Birmingham, I remember saying to him that I want to do a nail course. But I was going to this Vietnamese shop, and it was called Nails for You. And I remember going there the day to get my nails done. And I remember saying to the guy that owns the shop, do you teach this? And he was like, yeah. Do you want to learn? And I says, yeah. And I learned to do nails with the Vietnamese, worked for them for years.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and so there was at one point everybody knew me as the black girl that works in the Chinese shop
Yeah.
because I was the only black girl that worked in the shop. So yeah, so creativity's always been a part of me. My style, anybody that knows me always know about me and my styling. you
Yeah.
know and what's so good is like people from who know me from back school days till now, they'll see me now and say, you will hear them make phrases like, oh my God, yeah, you still know how to,
So
you
tell me
still.
about your art therapy. You're an art therapy coach. Explain what that is and like why do you do that?
So art has always been something that I wanted to do. So when going to school, you have vocational things that
Mm,
you have to choose when you reach a certain grade. And so I wanted to choose art. But I was advised by my auntie, no, art don't make money.
yeah.
Um, get into business. But being the creative mind that I am, I went into food and nutrition because I
Oh,
still get to create.
yeah.
So yes, I'm also a great cook and stuff like that. So I went into food and nutrition instead because I didn't want to have nothing to do with business. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, at the
Yeah.
time you're thinking that's office work. That wasn't me. I wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And so art has always been a part of me, a passion. So when I had the opportunity, and I realized that art is also therapy, how therapeutic it can be. I remember with my second marriage, I was going through so much and I just wanted to find an outlet to do something,
Yeah.
that would really
Yeah.
get me tapping into art and being creative. And yeah, I found out about art therapy, and I realized that I could actually do it and also teach it, run workshops and stuff like that. So I'm an art therapy coach because I'm not a therapist. So I
Yeah,
have
I
to,
understand. Yeah, I understand.
so, I just run workshops and, allow the ladies to create and get them in that place so they can become creative as well. Because I know that is very therapeutic. People always say, I can't create, I can't do this and that.
Mm.
But we don't realize that every day we get up, we are creating.
Yeah, we are. And
Mhm.
you also created a book.
Yeah, many books.
Many
So
books.
this is,
Why do I think it's just one? Called your
yeah,
memoirs.
most, most people think it's one book because this is my actual memoir.
Ah.
But my first book is called, it's not online now because I'm trying to redo it now. It's called Be Bold, Be Beautiful, and Just Do It.
Yeah.
So in over 10 years ago, my friend, and who is my publisher as well, Marcia M. Spence, she started her publishing company. And I was just there to support her. And she was like, "Oh, yeah, you should write your book." And I'm like, "No.
Mhm.
I'm not writing my story." I couldn't think of myself putting my story out there because it was
Yeah.
like, no, no, no. But over the years, she's encouraged me, and, because we were so close, worked alongside her based on the stuff that I did, it complemented what she was doing. And so she always said, write a book, write a book. So even around what you do. And I remember sitting down and thinking, okay, what's one of the things that you struggle with? And then, many people don't believe this, but I struggle with my confidence.
Mm.
And I think that's why I'm so bold with my fashion. Because, but people think the opposite. They think, oh, it's because you're confident. Why you dress so bold and stuff? But that's not it. So I struggle. So being confident and, stepping out and doing certain things, I know that I struggle with that. And most people don't realize that I have coping mechanisms that I use to step
Mm.
out there. So
Mm.
things like journaling and,
Yeah.
doing art and stuff like that, even my fashion and stuff like that, those are the things that, I remember I have this thing where I have to look in the mirror, and I talk to myself and encourage myself to, get up and go, you look good, you speak back
Yeah.
to yourself. So I says, okay, I'm going to write a book about confidence and
Mm.
my story about how I struggle with my
Yeah.
confidence and what I use and what I do. So it's only a small book. Oh, I should have looked for it if I knew I was going to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's called Be Bold, Be Beautiful, and Just Do It. So it's basically it's a handbook that's it's talking about, it's me sharing my story and my confidence and just the coping mechanisms that I use
Mm.
to look confident when I step out there.
Oh wow. So you're kind of reviewing it and updating it, and that will be back out at when you're ready.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm on it because what it is, I got some reviews from it from the men, and they say the book looks feminine, but they say when they read it, it actually helps them as well.
Yeah, they resonate.
Yeah, so they resonate with it. So they're saying, so based on that feedback, I want to revamp the cover and the whole inside
Yeah.
of it because it was written for women and
Yeah.
young girls. And so I want to change that now because the men, they're saying based on the tools I'm using, everything, which is right, it can
Yeah.
be used for anybody.
Yeah.
So yes, at the moment I'm doing that. So, and I've made journals
Oh.
as well. So I have two art journals. But they're not on Amazon anymore. There was an issue that happened because sometimes when you publish stuff on Amazon,
Yeah.
there can be a little issue with one book and
Yeah.
then they cancel everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's sort of the thing that happened.
Yeah.
So my journals aren't on there now. And those are things that I'm just revamping at the moment to get them back up and out there. So in all I've written my book called Be Bold, Be Beautiful. There's a journal for it. I've done a collaboration book where I'm the lead author, which is called Flying Without Wings.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done that with 7 other authors. Um, So that's Flying Without Wings. And then I've done 2 art journals plus my book. So that's about 6 books that I've done. Oh, and I'm also a part of another collaborative book. So yeah.
So you're a writer.
I always says I'm not because I just feel like I was shoved in this world that I didn't even,
Yeah.
anybody, if I look back on my life, I can't say 10 years now because it's been a 10-year journey with the writing. But if I look back 20 years ago, if you told me that I would be writing, I would laugh because I
You'd
think,
laugh.
no.
But so the book that called My Naked Truth, is that about? Can I take a moment of your time and ask for a huge favor? If you could please comment, share, and subscribe to this podcast. There are so many people out there who are having a real difficult time, and hearing the stories of others can help. Enjoy the rest of the podcast. About your HIV story.
Yes, so it includes my HIV story, includes my whole story of, being in Jamaica, leaving Jamaica,
Yeah,
coming to the
yeah.
UK. And then obviously it includes my story about HIV.
So, how did you get to a stage where you're talking openly about your HIV status?
So, after a lot of writing and praying, and because
Yeah,
I am a Christian, and I just remember that it's something that kept nudging me. And, as I said, my friend Marcia, she kept saying to me, Yan, you know how powerful this story would be if you put it out there because you
yeah,
don't hear anyone talking about it, especially
yeah,
within our community. And so it was something that was always in the back of my head because she kept saying that to me. And then through prayer, with another friend, I remember reading this book called Purpose Driven Life. And there's a part in it where it was saying, when you tell a story, telling your story is about healing others.
yeah,
And I was like, wow. And I remember asking, okay, so why me? And all I heard back was, why not you?
yeah,
Okay. And so it was those little things happening. And I'd be reading different books, I'd be praying, I'd be seeing certain things. And it's like, all I'm getting from it is healing, healing. Your story will heal others.
mm,
And I remember saying, God, if I'm going to write this book and I'm going to put my story out there, it can't be that I just put my story out there and it's just there. I want it to make a difference. Definitely. So if you're going to give me the strength to do this, if I'm going to, then I need to know that you're with me. I'm not going to
yeah,
just be putting it out there. And then also, I remember thinking, I can't be the only Black Christian Caribbean because, I have to put
yeah,
all of these in places.
yeah,
Black
yeah,
Christian
yeah,
Caribbean woman
yeah,
that's living with HIV. And
yeah,
I'm starting to realize I'm not seeing anybody else. I'm not hearing anybody else like me. So what's going on? And so I decided, you know what? I'm gonna step out and do it. And if this is about healing others, so I could actually see that it would be healing. It would be helping other people because nobody else is talking about it from where I'm coming from. So yeah, so it's just those things. It took me 7 years to make the decision.
yeah.
But so 3 years ago, I decided to do it. So, but I had a challenge. I didn't tell my mom. I
Ah,
didn't tell my mom as yet. And I remember, okay, if I'm gonna put this out there, my mom needs to know
yeah, yeah,
from me personally telling her. So I told her, and then from I told her, and she was okay with it. From I told my daughters, and they were okay with it.
that's the
I
one.
didn't really care.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
didn't really
that's the
care.
one.
Yeah,
So when you talk about creativity, so I asked you, how did you get to where you are?
yeah.
you're talking openly about HIV, and you said, a lot of creativity used to write a lot, and spirituality, meaning,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you go to church and stuff, you're a Christian.
yeah.
But I was just thinking about creativity, and I was thinking that in general, when you think about the systems that we're part of, like the education system, the work system, the political system, just life system, right?
Yeah,
We're in these systems and they're quite structured. And I'm not
yeah,
being negative about that. I'm just
mhm,
saying facts,
yeah,
they're structures. But with
yeah,
creativity, you can step outside of structure and you
definitely.
can be, say, feel what feels right for you as a unique individual. So
Yeah,
it seems like you were free to express your truth.
yes, yes, yes. And I mean, the first place that I shared my story was in church. Um,
Oh,
and
I
I
love
decided,
that.
that that's the first place I wanted to do it. Because we all know that's where the biggest stigma is. So and nobody talks about sex in church. Nobody talks about anything that's related to sexual health or anything
Yeah,
like that. And I said, you know what? That's where I'm going to share my story. So I shared it with my pastor. Um, and she was like, as a matter of fact, she knew somebody else who was living with HIV, and she was like, "Do you want to meet them?" And they were from
ah,
Jamaica
ah,
as well. So, I said, "Yeah," and she said, "Okay." And she said, "Okay, yeah, if you want to tell your story." Because she said, "You know what?" And I loved what she said when she said this to me. She said, "What the enemy meant for bad, God has turned, God is gonna turn it for good."
yeah,
Don't, and it's true because obviously it could have brought me into a place where I would just lock off or,
yeah,
and you know how much that silence affect
yeah,
your mental health. And I could you never know. I could be, in a position where when I got my diagnosis, it could have been too late or
yeah,
I could have taken it that bad where I took my own life, because,
yeah,
it messes you up. So when she said that to me, I says, yeah, I like that. And I'm gonna do it. And if she's okay with it, then I'm gonna do it. And yeah, and I shared my story the first place in church. And then obviously because it's been broadcast, other churches,
yeah,
from
yeah,
other places would have seen it. And then from there, I just started to talk.
yeah,
And what always keeps me going is what people say after, things like,
yeah,
oh, I thought it was just in the gay community.
yeah,
And oh, they don't understand the difference between AIDS and HIV. And,
yeah,
whenever I'm talking and I'm sharing, how people get
yeah,
anything. And, it always makes me come away to say, that's why you're doing what you're doing, yeah. So
yeah,
continue doing
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just amazing. So
Yeah.
that's just so I've got all goose pimply. That's just so special. Um,
Yeah.
so like were you like how was it for you taking, once you got your diagnosis, taking your meds, or was that all okay? What did you find out in time, or did you have like what is it? Health issues?
Okay.
Or yeah,
No, so it's funny because I didn't have any symptoms or anything.
yeah.
And on a whole, I'm not somebody who was easy to catch the flu or a cold or stuff like that.
It's that good
Um,
Caribbean sun.
yeah, I guess so. And and so when I got diagnosed, I think, and first of all, taking my medication, I was like, ooh, that was weird for me to be because
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who's normally ill all the time. So
Mm,
taking tablets is not one of my
something. Yeah.
specialty, or I don't even like taking pills. And then when I knew I had to take it for life, I was like, oh,
Mm.
so that's something I had to deal with. Um, it, it, it was just weird. It was just this weird feeling of getting up every day and remembering to take this medication.
But how are you in
And
it now, though? How is it for you now? How many do you take one tablet a day?
yeah, it's one tablet a day. I do get side effects. So I struggle with my sleep, insomnia.
Oh,
I remember the first set of tablets that I took were two, and that skyrocket my
yeah,
cholesterol
yeah,
unbelievably. It's like, ooh,
yeah.
okay. So I had to change medication,
Mm.
changed it, and then that was just messing with. That's where my sleeping pattern got messed up, and
Oh,
changed it again, and it's still the same. So I have chronic insomnia, very lethargic, a lot of different
yeah,
health conditions. One of the things I'm struggling with now is my hemoglobin, my iron levels.
yeah,
It's just
yeah,
mad.
yeah.
So now they're even wondering if my body is absorbing the iron as how it should, because for some reason my hemoglobin, yeah, it's been
Mm.
messed up. And I know it's from the medication. So
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just things like that you struggle with.
We'll have after the show, we'll have a quick chat about that because I'm
Yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah,
this yoga therapy course, and some of the things that you're saying, I'd like to
yeah,
just kind of give you some information from
yeah,
what I
yeah,
understand. But so
yeah.
yeah, so you're taking your medication, you're
Hmm.
telling people, and so tell me about your show. You've got it's got a radio show.
Yeah, so when I wrote the book, um, obviously my book is called Shameless, My Naked Truth.
Yeah,
So I thought to myself, so what had happened was, I think a year or so before my book got published, I was really depressed. I was in a very bad place. And my and I remember Marcy again, she said to me, why don't you go on the radio? Because we knew Curtis is the one who owns Blue Dot Radio. And she was like, yeah, and why don't you go on the radio and play some music? Because you're a music person. Like I'll be the one at parties and be playing the music and stuff like that. I love my music. And so, yeah, I think it's a Caribbean thing.
I think so. So I get
Yeah,
all excited. I just have to
yeah,
stop you there. Because at the moment, you know what? I really want to go to this place, but I can't find anyone to go with. I think my daughter might come with me because they really love it as well. But dub, heavy, heavy, heavy
yeah.
dub. You know, the big thing,
Wow.
just like, and I love, I just love that. And
Yeah.
my friends are like, Lou, that's just too much for me. No, but it's
No.
like, you know what? I'm just gonna go by myself and just kind of skank out.
Where is that? In London.
Yeah, Brixton,
Yeah.
places like that. It's just like big,
Yeah,
massive,
yeah,
like
yeah,
dub
yeah.
event.
Yeah, I love music. So that's how I started out on radio. I used to go in on was it a Tuesday from 9 to 11, and it was called I call it the rhythm and beats show.
Yeah. Nice.
And so I would just play, and the reason why I just play timeless classics. So
Ah,
sometimes I'm going and playing reggae, sometimes I'm playing different music
yeah,
from the 80s. It
yeah,
has to be timeless because I'm a timeless girl. I love my old
yeah,
songs.
yeah, yeah,
I can't really relate to most of the new songs now.
yeah.
Yes, there's some good music out now, but you can't beat the 90s and the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. So I do timeless classics. So that's how I started out. And then what happened? Curtis decided that he's gonna. So when I started the radio, I really wanted to do a show, but it was just Blue Dot Radio was just music, music.
Yeah,
And so I said, okay, which that helped me because it got me out the house, it got me playing
yeah,
music. People, I
yeah.
got a following now, and people are enjoying it.
Mm.
And then he decided to do another radio station called Feminine Touch Radio. And I was like, okay, can I get a show? Can I get a spot for a show?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I really wanted to have a talk show where I could provide space for people to come and share their stories. And
yeah,
because I've written my book and it's called My Naked Truth, and I'm like, I want that platform where people can come feel safe to bear their
yeah,
naked truth.
yeah.
And so that's how the My Naked Truth came about, based on the book, my book,
Ah, that's
Shameless,
nice.
My Naked Truth.
Yeah,
And so based on the book, I created that show. Then while I'm doing what I'm doing now, I met this lovely lady called Jara, which is from Umbrella. And I think somebody introduced me to her because I was gonna do my book launch as well. And one of the ladies from Umbrella was supposed to come, but then I changed the date for my book launch and she couldn't make it to the next date. So she said, you know what, Jan, I'm going to introduce you to Jara. And Jara, at the time, she's doing things around Black women and HIV. And, obviously having that struggle because, not a lot of us is putting the story out there. And so it was like, when things just supposed to happen. And so we were so excited because it's like she want to do work within the community with Black people, and then here's this Caribbean person sounding like Caribbean as well, because it's not as if I have a proper English accent, I still have my Jamaican accent, so it's like, ooh. And so we started doing stuff together, and we decided, well, a good platform to have is to have a radio show. And we decided to call it the HIV Positive Show, where we talk about all things sexual health. And so I would be on there as the lived experience, and she would be on there as the expert, which is perfect. And so we do it with another colleague as well, which we both are like lived experience, and then there's Jara. And yeah, so that's how the shows came about, and we do them once a month.
Okay.
And it's just been fantastic.
So how can people listen to the HIV Positive Show?
So the HIV Positive Show is every second Friday of the month. And that's from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And it's on blue.radio.com. So it's literally just go online, www.blue.radio.com.
Okay.
So it's actually, when I say dot, when I say blue dot, it's actually the word D-O-T.
Oh, D-O-T, yeah.
Yeah, blue.radio.com. And so that's what I do. So most people, I would just add to my broadcast list. And then I just send out the link whenever the show is on. And we get people from Canada listening in, Jamaica.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's what I like about the online radio, because anybody can be listening in, and you have people listening in and you probably don't know.
Yeah.
So that's why when I'm on the show, I'm always say, big up to my silent listeners, because I know you're listening.
Yeah. Oh, that's
so that's how it started. And so that's how people can listen online.
So I'm going to change the topic slightly, because I think like this is something that most people, especially if you're living with HIV, or maybe they're not living with HIV, maybe it might be something else, but dating.
Yeah.
How did you find that, dating and disclosure? Was that an issue for you? Telling someone.
So not really dating.
Oh, you didn't really date?
No, because at the time when I found out that I was HIV, I just got engaged to get married.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that's what triggered me to find out that I was HIV positive, because we were planning to have children. And so I went into the doctors, because I normally wear implant contraceptive, and I had the implant in my arm. So I was on contraception, and that's because of have every periods as well.
Yeah.
So that was part of to help with that. And so when we started to talk about having children, I decided, no, I'm going to take out my implants so I can give myself time. So by the time we get married and stuff like that, we start to want to have children. Obviously, I'd get rid of the contraception in my body, because, you don't really know, because I've been on contraceptive since I've been young,
Yeah.
And so, and when I went into the GP, he asked me if I wanted to do an HIV test, and I said yes. And then 2 weeks after that, I got a phone call to say to come in to the clinic and we're told that I'm HIV positive. So we did get married, because he did say, but then that didn't work out because we got married for the wrong reasons. And then at the time, just finding out that I'm HIV positive, of course I'm gonna marry you, even if it was a even if it was a donkey that asked me to marry, I would be like, okay. Because at the time you feel like, you're not worthy anymore. You're done,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
nobody's gonna want you.
Yeah.
At the time, that's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
So we did get married and everything and stuff like that. And then I've been divorced now, 3 years? So we've been like 4 years apart and 3 years since I've been divorced. So I haven't put myself out there on the dating scene.
Uh-huh.
I have a friend that I'm talking to, but we're not really in
Yeah.
the act of whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't a problem when I met them. Obviously I shared my story straight
Yeah,
away,
of course.
for me, because I believe that, and this is just for me. I'm not saying that this is what everybody's to do because I know it's different for everyone. I know the fear that comes behind it. But for me, I think if I meet somebody, not saying the first thing I'm going to be like, oh, I'm HIV positive. No, I'm just saying if I see that we've met and we're talking and we're getting into a place where we're liking each other and stuff like, things are happening, then I want to know that I'm saying, okay, this is the situation.
Mm.
I am living with HIV. One, to know, if you're clued up about it and stuff like that. And it's just to get it out of the way because the last thing I want to do is get caught up into something
Yeah, yeah,
and then having to tell you and then you
yeah,
flee, you know, especially flee from early where we're not
yeah,
involved. So that's my thinking when it comes to dating. So if I've met somebody new, so I haven't really gotten into any relationships. And I think subconsciously it is because I'm HIV positive. So I haven't really put myself out there like that. I've met people and I've told them, yeah, I'm HIV positive. I haven't seen it made a difference, but I haven't really gotten into
yeah, yeah,
anything since I've been
yeah,
diagnosed.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, this whole thing about like diagnosis and, people will hear us talking and it's all well and good that we are at
Yeah.
this stage where we're two women of Caribbean origin living in the UK talking about
Yeah.
HIV. But there were
Yeah.
many years to get there. It didn't just happen.
Yeah.
And
No.
I think people need to feel safe. If you're
Yeah.
living with HIV and you don't feel safe, that it's important that you feel safe.
Yeah, that's what I said, because whenever I get the question to say, what would you say to people out there living with HIV and want to share? Um, what advice would you give them? And I says, make sure you are comfortable with your diagnosis.
Yeah,
Make sure you have no shame around it or stigma. You have to take care of you first. Because the last thing you want to do is you're not sure about your situation. And because you see other people talking about it, you think, oh, I'm going to talk about mine. Because one little negative comment can knock you off the ground. So, make sure you are clued up. Make sure you are comfortable with your diagnosis. And then if you feel like you want to share, you share. Because I know not everyone is going to
yeah,
share. I'm
yeah,
not sharing my story because I'm trying to encourage others to share. No,
yeah,
that's not what
yeah,
it's about.
yeah,
It's about letting people realize that, what, somebody out there is having a voice for them, and it's letting them feel safe enough to share with their family and friends. Because I know that's one of the killers that's happening because you're not feeling safe to say it.
yeah,
And then if with the position I'm in, if I'm able to be a Jamaican woman that can talk about it and explain to people how they need to behave and talk about it, then it's opening a door for people to feel more comfortable to share with their families and friends. And
yeah,
that's really the aim of it. I'm not trying to encourage anybody to tell their story, put it
yeah,
out there on the
yeah,
platform. That's not what it's about.
yeah. So,
Um, yeah.
so let me ask you, like we know we're living in the UK, so we've got an understanding of, what it's like living.
Yeah, yeah.
What about Jamaica? Have you got any understanding of what's happening back home when it comes to HIV?
Not much, not much. Obviously I've heard things. Like the other day I was hearing, I know that people are out there living with it and
Yeah,
scared to talk.
yeah,
They're not talking. And because of that, they're not going for medication. So there are people there who are living with it and they're just there until they frail away and die.
mm,
And, and all people do is have it as a rumor. And so I remember talking to my sister from Canada, and I was saying to her, I say my sister because we grew up together, and her mom was like a mom to me. And I was saying to her, oh my God, because I felt it. I was like, oh my God, so how can we get medication to these people who are afraid to go to the clinic?
Yeah.
Because that's what they are. They're afraid to go to the clinic. Because one, you probably see somebody, or two, the same people who work in the clinic, if they come from your community,
Yeah.
they'll, people are nasty in it. They say things and the knowledge around it. But I don't know much about what's happening out there exactly. Because since I've been diagnosed, I haven't been out there even long enough to see
get
and hear what's
yeah.
going on.
Yeah.
I know that there's still a big stigma around it. I remember doing a YouTube because one of my friends, she was doing a YouTube channel, and she started, where she would tell people would tell a story. And it's funny because she's a Christian as well. And she was supposed to do a recording and the person didn't show up. So I says, okay, I'll tell my story. Cause I remember I shared my story with her. I says, oh, what if, I shared my story and, they didn't put it out.
Ah.
And I know it's because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really quite strange.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't put out the YouTube and why I know it's that because she's done other shows and it's out there and mine isn't. So I'm like, oh, okay. I get that.
Some people find HIV, even saying the word, just really
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is. And so, that even shows me that there's still a big stigma, especially within the church. And so, I know that my work isn't just going to be here because obviously I'm Jamaican, but it's, what they say, start from where you are. And then I think if I start from here and do what I'm doing, get in whatever resources, put myself in a certain position, then I'll be able to tap into out there. I know that there are people out there who's doing things, but it probably needs, it needs more because, it needs more activities, more,
So on that note, the last question for me, for people out there listening who have just been diagnosed with HIV, what is your message to them?
It's not a death sentence. I'm living. And, I have this thing to say, I'm living with HIV. It's no more death sentence. I think what scares people mostly is to think, oh, I have to tell my family or whatever. And it's just, no, you don't. If you're on your medication and you are well, and as we know, if you're on your medication, taking it daily and you're undetectable, that means you're untransmittable. You're not putting anybody in danger. So don't feel forced to tell or even share with anybody. What I would say, if you're just being diagnosed and you're on it, take care of you, take care of your health, take care of your mind before even thinking about to share it with anybody because you don't need to. As long as you're not putting anybody in danger, just look after yourself and look after your mental health. Because one thing I know with HIV, it affects your mental health. Whether you want to admit it or not, it does. Because as I said to people, yes, when I found out I was HIV, I still had stigma. I still have stigma around it and shame. And I'm having to unravel that on a daily basis. And so it will affect you mentally. So just take care of you. And I think that's it. Just take care of yourself. And then when you're ready to talk and tell who you need to tell, you'll know. Because, it's going to just come easy.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's just going to come easy. Yeah.
I wanted to say thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for standing
Thank
up. Thank
you.
you for being so
I'm just so
vocal.
happy that I'm here at a Caribbean woman as well.
Yeah, me too. So,
Yeah.
so the last thing, if somebody wants to find your book, how can they get a copy?
Amazon, it's on Amazon and it's called Shameless, My Naked Truth. You see the silhouette at the back?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's called Shameless, My Naked Truth and it's on Amazon. So my pen name is YLS Taylor. So yeah, and if you put in Yanique Taylor, you can still find the book on Amazon.
Okay. Oh, well, Yanique, you're just a joy to talk to. Please stay on the line
Oh, you
and
too. Yeah,
thank you, darling. Stay there.
thank you.
Thanks for watching Auntie Lou's Hour. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe.